May 28, 1944.
All right, then. This is the time set for the not guilty arraignment. You are before the court, sir, on counts 1 through 9. As to each of these allegations, you do have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to be represented by counsel. Do you have an attorney that is representing you in this case?
I don't at this point, no.
Do you
But I will. But I will shortly.
Okay, are you asking the court to appoint counsel now until you are able to retain counsel, or are you asking?
No.
No?
I think I'm capable of handling it myself, except for the fact that I don't have a copy of the indictment. I just have the summons.
All right, then I'll ask the state to provide the defendant with a copy of the charging document.
Your Honor, I would need a contact for Mr. Giuliani.
Oh, sure, I can do that. I'll give you my email if you want.
Well, we're in an open courtroom, sir. If you're comfortable with that, you can go right ahead.
Oh, no, I'm not comfortable.
All right, then.
I'm not comfortable with that.
Let's see.
I had given it to your assistant, Andrew.
Okay.
Andrew, I called Andrew first in order to contact you, and Andrew gave me the information, and he needed my email, and I gave it to him.
All right, then we'll pass that email on to the Attorney General's office, and then the Attorney General can send that to you by email, okay?
I appreciate that. I do have a general familiarity with the charges from, reading in the newspapers. I haven't seen these done.
Oh, he needs to file. Okay, he's remote. All right, Mr. Giuliani, as I said, you're here before on counts 1 through 9. We'll enter a not guilty plea on your behalf to each allegation. We'll set your next court hearing for an initial pretrial conference. That conference will be on July 2nd at 8:15 in the morning. It's before Commissioner Henderson. The comprehensive pretrial conference will be on August 1. It's at 8:30 in the morning. It's before Judge Martin. The final trial management conference is October 10 at 8:30 in the morning. It's also before Judge Martin. And your trial assignment date will be on October 17 at 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's before Judge Martin. Judge Martin is the assigned judge in this case. You do need to be present for your scheduled court hearings. If you fail to appear for court without good cause, a warrant could issue for your arrest, and any bond that you posted could be forfeited. With respect to your counsel, sir, if you have not retained counsel by the next court date, the court will appoint counsel to represent you.
Would you mind giving me the dates again? It was kind of fast and I couldn't get them all.
Sure, of course, I'll go slower. Your next court date is the initial pretrial conference, and that is on July 2nd, 7/2 at 8:15.
Now, is that a personal appearance or is that,
You may appear virtually for the next court date. However, at your third court date before Judge Martin, you will need to get the court's approval if you intend to appear virtually.
So July 2nd is virtual.
Well,
and you had August,
not necessarily, but you can appear virtually, is what I'm saying.
I see.
All
Okay.
right, then.
And August 1st?
The next date was, yes, August 1st. That's at 8:30, and that's before Judge Martin. So you'll need to ask Judge Martin in advance if he will allow a virtual appearance for that court hearing.
You need permission for that. Okay.
The final trial
And that's
management,
at 8:30, correct? That was 8:30?
it is 8:30, that's correct.
Okay.
The final trial management conference will be on October 10. Again, that's at 8:30. It's at 8:30 in the morning before Judge Martin. And then the final trial management, sir, will be on October 17 at 9 o'clock in the morning before the master calendar judge.
Not before the,
It's before the
No,
master calendar judge, right? Not necessarily before Judge Martin.
oh. Judge Martin, the judge who will be trying the case? It goes to
Possibly,
trial.
possibly,
Oh, okay. That's not determined yet.
not at this point, it's not, yeah, it's too early in the
Okay.
case.
Thank you.
All right, then, and so you do need to be present either virtually or in person for your scheduled hearings. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Does the state wish to be heard regarding release conditions?
Yes, Judge. And I don't know, I had 2 exhibits. I was hoping maybe I could use the Elmo, or if that's okay with the court's permission.
Okay,
And if you give me some time, I wanted to make a record on why I'm requesting a $10,000 cash bond and that Mr. Giuliani appear in Arizona within the next 30 days for booking procedures.
okay. Go right ahead, with whatever you would like the court to consider.
Yeah, thank you, Judge. If I could approach them.
You may.
Yeah. And if you bear with me, Your Honor, I think I just wanted to make a record because service of summons for this arraignment has been quite the process. And so I'm going to start with the indictment became public on April 24th of 2024. By Friday, I had 2 special agents in New York in an attempt to serve Mr. Giuliani. We had about 3 or 4 different phone numbers for him. My agents called 4 different numbers, left 4 messages, and had not received a call back. On 2 of those, as they kept trying to call him, they left their identity, the reason why they were calling, and never received a return call. On Friday the 26th, my agents spent about 4 to 5 hours outside his Manhattan condo, and we were able to determine that Mr. Giuliani was present in that condo because just the day before he was on his podcast, and we could compare photographs from Zillow showing the inside of that condo, and they matched up with the inside of his podcast. So he knew we were there. I had 2 agents attempt to enter the building. The doorman stopped them upon arrival and told them 2 days earlier that a note came down that no one was allowed up to Mr. Giuliani's office to provide service. He seemed very aware that the agents were trying to serve a summons on Mr. Giuliani, and basically told them that no one was going to see him. And so he was not allowed to take service of summons, nor did he allow the agents up. The agents asked if he had a phone number for Mr. Giuliani. The doorman said that he did not believe it would work because frequently the numbers that he provides are inactive. He attempted to call it anyways, and the number was unanswered. So that was our attempts to serve him in person. Never saw him outside of New York, attempted to enter the building. Mr. Giuliani has since then made numerous statements aware of the indictment and has failed to reach out or be cooperative in this process. So one day after the indictment came public, Mr. Giuliani on his podcast, and I'll quote, "Excuse me, I'm trying to see if my wrist got any bigger from the handcuffs from Arizona and Michigan. My guess as to what political party the district attorney in Arizona is who reported to have indicted me, quote unquote, evil people," and he was aware that 18 people were charged. Later that day, he appeared on Newsmax, talking about one of the co-defendants, blamed that co-defendant and said, and that was Christina Bobb, I used Christina Bobb to a large extent for Arizona. On May 14th, Mr. Giuliani was quoted on this podcast, and I'll just take some quotes. The people in Arizona who now say, and then, "I'm too difficult to find, it's hilarious. I'm going to use this article in my defense." They put the article on the air. This is perfect evidence that if they're so incompetent they can't find me, they also can't count votes correctly. This is the same Arizona people who counted the vote, who are indicting me, who are framing me, and they can't find me. On May 2nd, we sent certified mail to Mr. Giuliani's Manhattan address. It has that was with the summons. It has still not been returned. And then I had 2 exhibits from Twitter posts that Mr. Giuliani made in reference to our attempts to serve him a summons, and with the court's permission, if I could use the Elmo to display them.
Yes.
So this is the first, this is from last Friday night, and if this is, yeah. We can zoom out here. So this is a Twitter post that he had posted this on Twitter last Friday night. As you can see, it's a picture from his 80th birthday party in Palm Beach, Florida. If Arizona authorities can't find me by tomorrow morning, 1, they must dismiss the indictment. 2, they must concede they can't count votes. We actually had 2 agents in Florida at the time who were sitting outside the party waiting to see if he would leave to serve him a summons. About an hour after that post, the agent saw him leaving and then served him a summons to appear today. Later then on Sunday, Mr. Giuliani posted this. I had just found out they were looking for me 24 hours before a surprise party that was given to me. The party was not a surprise, by the way. It was reported in newspapers before. 200 Democrats and Republicans. I told them where I'd be, and I accepted service like a gentleman. That is not a true statement. Mr. Giuliani he did not tell us where he was going to be. He has never, although we served him, it's, I guess, semantics on whether he accepted service like a gentleman or not. But he has shown no intent to comply with legal process in Arizona for this case. Yesterday, I received a phone call from a New York attorney who is not licensed in Arizona and was not representing Mr. Giuliani to inquire about appearing virtually. I told him I would object to a virtual appearance, given the problems that we've had serving Mr. Giuliani a summons and his behavior in this case. So at this point, rather than go back through this process of trying to serve him again if he does not appear, I would just ask that the court order he appear in Arizona within 30 days for booking procedures and to post a $10,000 cash bond.
All right, thank you. Mr. Giuliani, would you like to respond before the court issues a
Yeah,
ruling?
first of all, it was publicly known where I was going to be when they came to serve me. I didn't know about it, but it was publicly known by all the people who came there. So by the time I got there, I knew that they would now know exactly where I was. I've been on the radio, on television and the radio every day since this indictment started, announcing where I am. So I haven't been hiding from anyone. The reason for the difficulty to get up to my apartment in New York is it's a 10-story apartment building. I have a fair number of threats, including death threats, and I don't have security any longer since I've been in bankruptcy. So I have very, very strict rules about who gets up and who doesn't. And as you might imagine, some people do pretend to be all kinds of things in order to get up and harass you. Some of which has happened to me over the years. I still have death threats that go back to the time I was in not just public service, but 4 years ago there was an attempt to kill me by the Iranian government. Very well documented, and tried in France. Then another one tried in the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. There are threats here.
Mr. Giuliani, I'm going to go ahead and issue or modify the release conditions. I believe that I previously said. Counsel, could you repeat that you were asking the defendant to or appear in Arizona within
30 days, Judge.
All right. And what else? What other requests were you making?
I was requesting a $10,000 cash bond. I think Mr. Giuliani mentioned large financial judgments against him, and I do not think the court should be a secondary secured creditor.
No, I think a
so you're asking for a cash bond?
Yes. It would be totally punitive. I've been indicted in Georgia. I've appeared on every occasion.
Okay.
I've been sued about 20 to 25 times by a very, very similar movement to this one, which is the let's see what we can do to destroy Donald Trump movement.
Okay, give me just a moment. Okay, sir.
I do consider this indictment a complete embarrassment to the American legal system, but I've shown no tendency not to comply. I show up for every court appearance, and there must have been about 20 to 30 of them. There is no history
All right,
of
sir.
my being a flight risk, which is the basis
I think
for
I understand your
setting
position.
bail.
Thank you, sir.
I think it'd be
Wait one
outrageous
moment.
if you set a bond
Uh,
in this completely political case that comes very, very late.
All right, sir.
This case
Sir.
was brought to the court 3
Mr.
years
Giuliani,
ago.
I don't want to mute you, but I need to move on. Give me just a moment. I understand what your position is regarding release conditions. You want him to appear in Arizona within 30 days to do,
To self-report for booking procedures
okay.
and post a bond, Your Honor.
all right then. I'll adopt the release conditions as requested by the state. However, with respect to the bond, I'll set a secured appearance bond rather than a cash bond with respect to the release conditions. In addition, sir, I will endorse some of the standard release conditions that will be on the release order that you will receive. Did I do the dates?
Thank you.
Give me two. I gave you the dates, sir, the release conditions, I believe.
You did. I have the date.
All right, then.
Thank you.
Anything else from the state?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll be in recess as to this matter.
Thank
Thank you, sir. You're,
May I ask one question, Your Honor? How do I arrange I have to appear within 30 days, and I will, but how do I arrange that?
do you want him to self-submit to the sheriff's department or to the,
To the Sheriff's Department,
you
Judge.
need to appear in the sheriff's department for that booking, okay?
Oh, I just have to
Maricopa
show up.
County
I don't
Sheriff's
have to arrange
Department. I beg your pardon?
it. Okay.
You have to
I got
post,
it. Okay.
well, you have to post a secured appearance bond as well. It's-
And that entails, what does that entail?
That was the $10,000 secured appearance bond.
You set a bond of $10,000,
We did, secured appearance bond. All
All
right,
right.
all right, we'll be in recess as to this matter, off the record on this
Yeah,
case.
okay.